This is the Caravan setup guide for the Bailey Unicorn Seville. Today we're going to show you how to set the Bailey Unicorn Seville up on site. We're going to move to the near side first, where we've got our mains hookup and battery box. This is one of the first things that we'll need to connect when getting onto site. So our 230 volt lead plugs straight in, a little cutout for the lead to come through. Leisure battery, red for positive, black for negative. There's room for roughly 110 amp leisure battery in there. We've got the isolator switch for the motor mover, which we'll come to afterwards. We've got an external 230 volt socket for in the awning. We've got an external barbecue point. That's run straight off the main gas bottle. And we've got side locker, we've got your winding handle, there's a mains lead, and there's also the Alco jack in there too. Moving to the front, we've got our gas. So this is set up for propane gas. We've got the hand wheel on there, so you tighten that up anti-clockwise, so reverse thread to tighten it, and again it's the opposite way to remove it from the bottle. It's fixed bulkhead regulator, so it's literally just this pipe. This will come with it, so if you've got a propane gas bottle, it's just ready just to connect straight on. Little yellow tab is a service valve. This is more for when they're doing the servicing, and you shouldn't really turn it off there when you're using the Caravan. You should always turn it off just straight at the bottle. We're on the Alco chassis and we're set up with the 13 pin electric, so again make sure your car is set up for 13 pin electrics. We've got the Alco ATC, so when we connect the 13 pin electrics, if the car is wired for the 13 pins, the ATC will get a green flashing light or a solid green light. If we get a red light, we need to disconnect, reconnect, and wait until we've got a flashing green or a solid green light. You'll hear a noise when you come to collect it. We'll run you through that and just make sure you're familiar with the noise that makes. And again, as I say, just make sure we've got a green flashing light. We've got the Alco AKS 3004 hitch head stabiliser. There is another video on our channel for hitching up guide with this stabiliser, so again, if you want us to run through or you want to see that previous to when you come to collect the Caravan, there is a hitch up guide on there as well showing you that. We've got another side locker for storage. We've then got a onboard water container, so we can remove this onboard water tank. This can be filled up, same as the Aquarol, put back in, and then we can turn the valve inside, which I'll show you afterwards, and use this as an onboard water tank if required. Water connection. The water pump will be in the sink on the Caravan when you collect it, and this literally just drops into the Aquarol and pushes straight in. The little catch at the top just locks that into place. We've got the Aldi flue for the water heater and hot water. That is just a flue, you don't need to do anything with that at all. That will just flue the gas on the or flue the boiler on the gas system. Two outlets for our wastewater, and then we've got the cassette toilet, which again, little orange handle that lifts up, pulls out. If you come to remove this, and it's really tight, when we go inside we'll make sure that the little trap is in the fully closed position. If it's not fully closed inside, it's not going to be able to remove this. To empty the cassette, we open the cap off, air breather button at the back, we hold that in, and that will empty on the Elson point. We have got a little bit of pink chemical in the system already, and the pink chemical goes in the flush water. we've got a drain bung for the winter to drain the flush water. We pop this cap off and this will drain the water through the winter of the flush water at the top here. Now the flush water is a little watering can, and that can just top that up, and again a bit of pink chemical just in the top there to fill that. Moving inside the caravan, I'll just pop the awning light on so you can see that working, and again just above the door here we've got the awning light switch along with the master 12 volt and awning light. So inside, just at the side of the door, we've got our main control panel where we've got our master 12 volts on, our lights on, our awning light on and off as we've just seen, and then our water pump. Now before we put our water pump on, we always just want to make sure that all of our taps are closed. So our drain bung for the water system, now this is where we're going to drain the system off during the winter. A little yellow drain bung that we can see just in the rear there. Now it's in the closed position, so that is now ready to use. If we need to drain the water system down, if we're not going to use the water, or we're not going to use the caravan for some time, we'd want to drain that water system down, and again that can be left open then to drain the system. Open all the taps and that will drain the system fully down. That's the same in the winter. We just pop that up, open all of the taps up, and that will drain the complete system down. Now if you wanted to use the onboard tank, so the little blue tank that we showed you from the outside, we've got a little tap, a little diverter valve just here. Now at the moment we're pointing towards the pipe work for the external pump, so this will just draw the water from outside. If we wanted to use the internal tank, we've got the pipe work that runs over to that tank, and this blue handle, we would literally just switch that round and point it into the direction of the blue tank and the white pipe work running to that tank, and that would then draw the water from our onboard water tank. So we're going to flip that back as we're using the external pump and the external aqua roll. Our yellow drain bung is down, so we know that's going to fill the system, and we can then put the water pump on. Again, as I say, we need to make sure that all of our taps, bathroom taps, shower, everything is all closed, and then we can pop that water pump on. Put the water pump on and we can then draw the water through the system, and we can get that through on the hot side and on the cold side. So we've got the air out of the system, we'll get a bit of coughing and spluttering, and then once we get the air through the system and we get the water filled on the hot water tank, we'll then get a nice flow of water on hot and cold. It works on a pressure system, so as we turn the tap off, the pump will run for about 30 seconds and then that will cut out. When we're first filling the system up, we want to run the kitchen tap, the bathroom tap, and also the shower. Because it works on a pressure system, we need to get all the water through all of the pipe work, otherwise we're going to keep pressure in that system. Again, if you run out of water when you put a new aqua roll on the outside, we need to just draw the water all through all of the taps just to make sure we get all of the air out of the system. So at the side of the kitchen unit we've got the Aldi heating system switch for the 230 volts, and we need to make sure this switch here is on before we can use our Aldi heating on the electric heating or the electric hot water. On our Aldi heating panel we will then have power through to our panel, and we can then run the system on the different settings. At the moment we're in the off position, so if we click on, we'll turn to the on flashing light. If I press the arrow, this will then tell us what we've actually got. So at the moment we've got the heating system on, we've got the circulation pump on, And we've also got a little plug at the side here, which if I just turn that switch off by the kitchen unit, you'll see that plug line go off. So again, if on the LD panel here we haven't got the little symbol of the plug, just that little switch that we showed you a second ago by the side of the kitchen, if you turn that one on, and that will put the little symbol on. We can then go through our settings for heating and hot water. Now at the moment the Caravan temperature is at 17 degrees. So if we want our heating, we go to the thermostat, and then we can turn the setting for the temperature to where we want, and we can literally just set that then to the temperature that we want the Caravan to run to, and that will just work like your home thermostat and keep the temperature on. Next one, we've got a tap symbol. Now this is actually a 30-minute boost for hot water. So it's not saying that we're going to use the hot water system, it's saying that we're actually going to run the hot water tank and we're going to boost the hot water for 30 minutes. So by putting that on, we're not actually putting the hot water on, all what we're doing is putting a boost on to warm that water heater up for 30 minutes. Next we've got our gas symbol. So if we want to use the boiler on gas, we would just press, at the moment we're off, we'd press the on, switch to on. As we come back, it will now say that the system is on, we're using gas, and the heating is running with the little arrows, the circular arrows. Now that will light up on the gas system then and give you heating on the gas. That will also heat the hot water at the same time on the gas. Now if we go to a site and we don't want to use our gas, we want to use our electric, we can turn our gas off, pop onto our electric symbol, come onto our electric setting, we're off at the moment, we press our on button, we'll then put 1 kilowatt or 2 kilowatts. Now again, if you're on a site that is restricted on the power, we may just need to run this on 1 kilowatt. Again, if you go onto a site and it's a large ampage site, you can run that on the 2 kilowatt, and that will warm the hot water and the heating system a lot quicker. Again, if we toggle back, this will tell us then, so we're in the on position, we've got 2 kilowatt electric, we've got the heating on, and we've also got our electric on the end, and that will then run our hot water and our heating. As I said, we've set our temperature on our little thermostat to 21, so that will just regulate that temperature now to 21 degrees. There is other settings at the bottom here, which is more of timers. It has got that in the manual. It is quite complex on the bottom setting, so if you do want to set all timers up, you can do. The only thing with that is as soon as you disconnect the batteries, they will all be lost. But for general day-to-day use, the settings that we've just run through there is going to be more than sufficient for what you're going to need. Moving on to our gas system. If we're going to use our boiler on the gas, the fridge on a gas, it's easiest to run the hob through the gas system first. So we've made sure our gas is on, and now to run the system through, we can turn the control dials to the big flame, hold that in, and then we've got the igniter. Again, if you've had the gas disconnected, it may take a little bit of time, 30 seconds or so, just to draw the gas through the system. And again, using your hob, this is the quickest way to tell whether you've got the gas coming through. And then also, if you're going to use the fridge, the heating, it's on the gas settings, it is all going to work a lot quicker. They can be regulated to a high and a low flame. Again, what you want to make sure is that if you've had these on, you don't put this glass lid down until this is fully cooled, otherwise that glass lid is going to shatter. We can then light up the grill. Again, exactly the same, we turn it to the big flame, hold it in, hit the igniter, and again then you can regulate that down to a higher or a low flame. on our oven, again exactly the same. We've got, I normally put it up to the 9, hit the igniter, and then you can set the thermostat to where you want. Again, the flame doesn't alter up and down, it works on a thermostat, so once it gets up to temperature, the flame then dies back down. If we want to use our fridge on gas, we turn our control dial to the gas symbol. So our control dial onto the gas symbol. Our thermostat dial, turn it up to the full high setting. Hold this one in and we hit our igniter. On the side here then, we've got the little red symbol that you should see start moving up into the green. We have to hold this in for 30 seconds to a minute just to keep the pilot light lit. So I'll hold this in. Once the little red indicator is moved up into the green, and then when I release the button, as long as it's staying up into the green, we know that that's lit and working. So once we've got the little red indicator moving up into the green, and when we release the button it stays up into the green, we know that that then is lighting and lit on the gas, and we're actually running the fridge on gas power. If we now wanted to use the fridge on electric, we literally turn the dial from our gas symbol to our plug symbol. We've got the thermostat again, so that controls either whether we're on gas or electric. The thermostat will control that. If we're towing on the car, if we've got the 13 pins wired on the car, we just pop it onto our electric symbol, and that will just stay cool then as we travel if the car is wired for it. All of our lights inside the Caravan have got individual switches. We've got 1 and 2 settings on the big lights. So we've got another set of light switches just by the sink area. We've got individual light switches around. And then in the bathroom, we've then got a pull cord that puts all of our lights on also. On our cassette toilet, as I was saying when we were looking to remove the cassette, the trap in the middle has to be closed before we try and attempt to remove that cassette. So to make sure that's fully closed, we want to go towards the front of the Caravan as far as we can. Make sure that that is fully closed, and we won't have any issues removing the actual cassette. To flush the toilet, we've just got the big blue button, and that will put the flush water through. And then to open it, again, our little grey button at the side. So on our extractor fan, we've got the main on and off button in the middle. We can then control our directions, so we can extract out and also blow cool air in. We can then adjust the speed of the fan by pressing it higher and lower. Again, to turn it off is just our middle button. Microwave, we'll remove the plate now so that that is tucked underneath one of the cushions, so that's not going to fall out and cause any damage to the worktop as you're travelling. That's something important to remember. To cook, we've got our different settings, and we can adjust our time with the dial, and we've got our stop and start. Now, one thing with the microwaves, they're perfect for a minute or so. Any longer than that you will cause problems, because the venting around the microwave isn't large enough to take any build up of heat. So any more than a minute or so, and you're going to start having problems with the microwave, as the aperture just isn't big enough to take any build up of heat. If you're thinking about doing jacket potatoes that will probably take 5 or 10 minutes, you will cause damage to the microwave. It just can't take the heat on that. We've got the lock nut at the top, which we can then adjust the aerial, and you've also got the little fine tune dial on the bottom. For travelling, if you make sure that the little red spot, that's going to denote the front of the aerial, and we want to make sure that is pointing towards the back of the Caravan for travelling. We can then lock that back off, and that will put your signal through to the separate points throughout the Caravan, separate aerial sockets throughout the Caravan. Hopefully we've covered everything that you're going to need to know to use the Bailey Unicorn Seville. If there is anything that you need to know, or we've not run through, or you need to explain a little bit better, if you just let us know either in the comments, send us an email, or give us a call. And hopefully you've enjoyed this setup guide for the Bailey Unicorn. Thank you.